Education Minister Blade Nzimande has described the murder of 23-year-old University of Fort Hare law student Nosicelo Mtebeni as a barbaric act. He's called on the justice system to ensure the speedy prosecution of the person responsible for the crime. Minister Nzimande joins us now. Good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time tonight, Minister. So one of the things that has consistently been said by the students who are in Quigley and who are at the Fort Hare University is how they have been raising concerns for years and years about their own safety in that area, with the institution, with police stations in the area. They've held several marches, but nothing has come of that. What has the Higher Education Department done to actually respond to the calls for better security that have been made by these students over the years?
Good evening, Kathy, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. Kathy, let me just start by pointing out, by once more expressing my most sincere condolences to the family of Nosicelo and also all fellow students and colleagues of hers. Kathy, I would just like to say that the issue of student safety is something that is very high up on our agenda as government, as well as our institutions, including the very issue of gender-based violence. In July last year, I released a framework for dealing with gender-based violence, which includes a whole lot of procedures and things that needs to be done to try and prevent gender-based violence. Secondly, also, a university like Fort Hare, very recently, for instance, we were opening new student accommodation at the Alice campus of more than 2,000 students, and we still have plans over the next 10-year period of building more student accommodation in order to try and cater for safety. Unfortunately, Kathy, gender-based violence is part of a societal problem in South Africa. It's not only a matter for higher education, but we are doing our best in our sector to say, what contribution can we make to what is otherwise a societal effort that is needed to actually defeat this? So the issue of student accommodation, the issue of safety of students is something that is very paramount, and as government we are doing a lot. But what we need to be doing in addition to all this is the mobilization of the whole of society so that we really defeat the scourge of gender-based violence.
Minister, if you have a situation where, despite some of these efforts that you've talked about, whether it's, having clear policy that institutions of higher learning need to be implementing, despite some of those efforts, when they leave campus and they are saying, we are not safe, we have gone to the police stations, they have not responded to us, they are not taking our concerns seriously, do you see a greater role that your department could be playing there?
Kathy, as I say, our policy on student accommodation precisely includes the issue of safety of students. Even this particular area at Fort Hare, I was talking to the Vice Chancellor earlier today, and he was taking me through some of the measures that they've actually taken to try and make sure that those areas are safe. Unfortunately, as yet, we do not have enough student accommodation to be able to accommodate everyone under the most ideal conditions. Of course, we are also working in close cooperation with the police. We are also working in close cooperation with other agencies, including the Commission on Gender Equality and many other agencies, to make sure that we all put an effort together to try and make sure that students are safe. But as I say, it's a society-wide problem, that has actually got to be dealt with by everybody, and the police have got a role to play. And as government, we are also doing a lot on our side to try and make sure that where students stay, they are safe, and particularly the safety of women students is something that is priority number one in terms of student accommodation on our side.
What did the Vice Chancellor say to you? What are those measures that they've implemented?
Well, there are a lot of measures. First of all, Kathy, let me just say this to you, that we are also working very closely with our own entity, Higher Health, which, by the way, in the light of this Fort Hare disaster, they have already released some psychologists, counselors, and social workers to go and assist the students and to actually work with the universities. The vice-chancellors are very cooperative. In fact, the board of higher health itself is made up of all our vice-chancellors, and of course we have expanded now beyond universities to actually cover TVET colleges as well. There is cooperation and working together. On our side as the department, we are also funding higher health because it's an institution that's playing a very important role, preventative role. It's also got online counseling such that 24 hours students, if they feel that they are under pressure, mental health issues, they are actually able to phone. So all of that is being done together with our own institutions. On that score, I would really say that I am actually very confident that with this policy framework that we have adopted, we are going to go a long way in preventing acts such as this to actually happen.
Yes, Minister, but what did the Vice-Chancellor say to you about the measures that they had put in place in response to the complaints that had been raised by students about their safety?
The Vice-Chancellor told me that, for instance, he has been having engagements with the mayor of Buffalo City, because this was the East London campus where this happened, where they are actually engaging. And he has also been engaging with the police, which is what we also encourage the universities to do. And there is also university security, which also is playing a role in that regard. But what he said to me, which I agree with him, is that that whole area actually just requires serious attention, because it's not a very ideal environment for students, or for anybody for that matter, to be staying, because of drugs that are in the vicinity, because of criminality that is in the vicinity. And within that context, the university is engaging with the relevant authorities in order to ensure that we are able to provide a safer environment.
So the difficulty here, Minister Nzimande, is that engagements, the fact that he had a conversation with the mayor means very little if it hasn't resulted in any action. And like I said to you earlier on in this conversation, the students of Fort Hare say they have been handing over these memorandums to the local police stations from as far back as 2 years ago in 2019. They've been raising these issues since 2019. So did the Vice-Chancellor have anything to say to you that is tangible about what they have done to respond to the issues raised by these students over the last 2 years, that he had a conversation with the mayor or with the local authorities in this moment, in response to this moment? It's neither here nor there. But what is the evidence of this work that has been put in?
Kathy, let us not be selective. When I started answering your question, I said Fort Hare has just opened state-of-the-art 2,000 student residences on campus that is relatively safe and everything. So it mustn't be presented as if nothing is being done. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the Vice-Chancellor has been, all of the Vice-Chancellors, they have got relations with the police in terms of engaging on what kind of safety is needed. But these residences are part of the broader city, which actually means that the Vice-Chancellor and many other institutions actually have to work together. The matters have been raised with the police. The police have responded. The police in some instances have raised the challenges that they can't be everywhere all the time. That is why we are emphasizing, Kathy, that this matter of gender-based violence is a societal matter. We have said as higher education, we are going to make our own contribution by ensuring that we provide decent accommodation, we provide security to students, but we also need all other players to be able to come in so that we are able to defeat this scourge. On my side, I was quite satisfied that the measures that the Vice-Chancellor says that he's taking, he has gone as far as he can actually go to be able to deal with this particular matter. I think that higher education has a contribution to make, but unless South African society as a whole, we stand up and work together to defeat this, we are going to continue to be having these problems.
Higher Education, Science and Innovation Minister Dr. Blade Nzimande, thanks for your time tonight. We'll leave it there for this evening.